Here on the SU Athletics Update, we're talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Montana Moon, sophomore wrestler from Chickasha, Oklahoma, unbeaten on the season. And your last win was against Noah McQuigg of Central Oklahoma. How much did the team get up for that duel against a crosstown rival?
We've been getting ready for it for a couple weeks now, and Coach has been hyping us up. We all been hyped up, just right down the road. So, we all been getting ready. It didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but I think we all battled pretty hard, so it turned out pretty good in the end.
How about your pin against Ouachita Baptist? What went into that one?
I just got to thank my teammates and my coach for that, because they're the ones pushing me every day, to get better, get in better shape, technique-wise and everything else.
Season opener, you guys had a really big crowd on hand for that one. What does a large crowd like that do for your team?
For me, personally, that's awesome. I love that. Everybody's watching you, and you're the only person out there at the time, one other guy from the other team. It's awesome. Love it.
What did you do to prepare for this season?
I lifted in the off season, ran some, got a lot stronger, stayed in good shape all off season. So did some technique with Coach over the off season too, all summer long actually.
And what brought you here to OCU?
I'd say probably just the small class sizes, and it's a good education.
What are you studying here?
Criminal justice.
What kind of career goals do you have for yourself?
When I graduate, I'm gonna sign on to OCPD. So.
All right, talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Montana Moon. You can follow the stars on OCUsports.com.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever, because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character.
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 Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to men's golf coach Kyle Blazer. The Stars won 4 out of the 5 tournaments in the fall. And Coach, let's talk about your last one there in the Southern Plains Intercollegiate. What went into your win in that tournament?
It was an up and down tournament. We actually we were down to Texas Wesleyan coming down the stretch, and I had some guys. I told them you need to finish really strong, and fortunately we did. Texas Wesleyan had a couple hiccups coming down the stretch, and it's very promising for what's ahead of us if I get guys that can finish. Finishing's one of the tougher things to do in golf, and they really stepped up. It was a big win for us because last year Texas Wesleyan just whooped us on a course that we get to play quite often, so it was sweet revenge.
You guys also got to play some Division I competition, a tournament hosted by Louisiana Tech. Tell us what went into that tournament for your team.
Well, we were actually going to go to Valentine, Nebraska, and a couple weeks ahead of the tournament, they canceled it due to snow. My son plays at La Tech, so I called up their coach and asked a huge favor. Coach Terry was generous enough to let us come play, and it was a great event. Several years ago, we used to play in several Division I tournaments, and those invitations are few and far between. So we're very privileged to get to go play, and we stacked up well. Georgia was there; they're top 25. UAB ended up winning, but I think we could compete with a lot of teams at the NCAA level.
Look back at last year's team, won the national championship and had 5 individuals in the top 25 in the NAIA championships. What will you remember about last year's team and the run to the national championship?
I've been doing this a long time, and I've had 4 guys finish high, but all 5 of the guys stepped up. And after the first round, I believe we shoot 293, and we're we're down on the leaderboard a little bit, and you know, I had Garrison Mendoza, who was a senior, and he's like, Coach, just we're good. And you know, I may have called them out a little bit, and challenged them, but they really stepped up to it. You know, coming down the stretch, they played well. You know, I've got 5 guys in the top 25. Rupert, who turned professional. You know, that was a big loss for us this year, but you know, he played well all year long. David Myers really stepped up, and he's doing the same thing. It's carried over. He's one of the top players in the country right now. Jack Madden, who's a freshman that I brought in from Ireland. You know, Jack he's a student of the game, and he's really playing well. I've got big hopes for Jack. He's going to be a big leader this year. And then we've got Peridon Castile, who finished top 25 last year, and Gaston Romero, who's freshman of the year. And Carson Seals, who was in and out the 5th spot last year, is now really playing well, and he's a corner post of our success this year.
You mentioned Jack Madden's one of your new players on the team. Who are some of the other new faces on the squad this year?
I've got Brandon Strathy from Owasso, Sam Simonson from the Colony, Texas, and then we've got senior Nico Nespoli, who, you know, these guys are, you know, they're a huge portion of our success because they do make it competitive to travel every week, and they're great leaders.
Tell us about the Champions Cup fundraising event that was at Gaillardia recently.
The weather was great. Last year it was cold and miserable, and you know, if we would have had it yesterday, it would have been snowing, but it was 80 degrees. It's always great to catch up with alums, and you know, I'd say 95% of the attendance of the event were alums. Tyron Van Oswegen came back for it. You know, some of his teammates, Clay Parks, Andreas Ridholm, Ryan Ellis came out, couldn't get to play. Greg Larson, Daniel Mitchell. You know, we get out awards, and I said, how many of you guys were all Americans? And it seemed like just about every one of them stood up. So, you know, it's always great to have those guys come back, and you know, without their support, you know, what we're doing wouldn't be possible. It's not impossible or possible with a small college to run without support of people like our alums.
You mentioned Rupert Kaminsky. Off last year's team has turned pro. Who are some of the other guys who have come through your program that are having success in the pros right now?
Jacques Blau played on the web.com last year. The Marchesani brothers are both playing. James has done well. I'm looking for James to have a big splash this year. He actually won a couple times. Michael Palmer won a couple times in South Africa. Anthony Michael, Colin Nell. We've got a long list of players that are still playing professional golf, and I'm sure I left a couple off. But it's always rewarding and fun to watch on Sundays to see who's doing well, and you know, Oklahoma City's well represented on the professional golf scene.
All right, that's men's golf coach Kyle Blazer. You can follow the stars on OCUsports.com.